trickier because of his origin story and how complicated it gets, so I'll explain a little bit about what's going on, but some of you may have already spotted the really big Easter egg, so if you are finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. The entire season of Defenders is dropping next week, so there's going to be a whole bunch of videos for that too. But Cable, this is obviously the stripped down version. Josh Brolin I think looks great, and this is just a mock-up, so the CG will look a little bit more fantastic, like they always polish it, but they wanted to show people pretty much what he's going to look like. This is like 90% and it's probably what he's going to look like through most of the movie. You could see looking at this real world picture where they add the CG. So like he has the motion capture dots like drawn onto his neck here for a lot of this. And then obviously his arm is all CG too, but they probably have a couple prosthetics that they wear for certain scenes. But probably the reason they opted for a stripped down version of Cable is just because when you look at Rob Liefeld's original designs, like this is the first time he's appearing on screen. So while I do think the movie's story is original in the way that they changed Deadpool's origin story for the first Deadpool movie, there'll be a lot of references for New Mutants 98 when he and Deadpool fought each other for the first time, which was also the first appearance of Domino, so they'll have a lot of fun with that. Look at this design of Rob Liefeld's Cable. Like, this is not a human figure here. Like, he just does not resemble something that exists in nature. So while he's a really cool character, it's just that they have to make him look real on screen. And in order to achieve this, Josh Brolin's head would either have to shrink down a couple sizes or he'd have to be on steroids for the next 3 years. It's a lot easier for Zazie Beetz to resemble that comic book model. Cable is just like over the top. He's probably one of the biggest X-Men characters next to Colossus and Beast. But I am expecting liberal pouches jokes. That's another big Liefeld criticism, is that he puts like crazy pouches all over his early character designs. He was really young when he did that stuff too, so I don't want it to feel like I'm criticizing it too much. It's just that, you look at this and you remember all the original Cable jokes and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Clearly what they're going for here is a version of the classic Liefeld pouch scheme, but it's sort of stripped down to fit Josh Brolin's body. Like, it's proportionate to the rest of the stuff that he's carrying around. And Cables use all kinds of guns. I'm not a big gun aficionado, so let me know if you know exactly what kind of modified gun he's using here, because it actually looks like something from present day. But the whole thing is that he's a time traveler, and they said that even though they're changing his backstory, I think there'll be an element of that to it. They just won't fully explain it till future movies. But the big Easter egg that you probably spotted that's been driving everybody crazy is the worn down teddy bear that's attached to his belt, like he carries it around everywhere he goes with him. So people are like, what does that mean? Is that a reference to Hope from the comics? Are they actually going to include her? What I actually think is going on is that, because Cable is a very Terminator-inspired character, like a really hardcore version of John Connor, who instead of sending Kyle Reese back in time, comes back himself and tries to change the future. So you have to imagine this post-apocalyptic or apocalypse future that he's from, where everything has just gone to complete shit. He grew up with this teddy bear. It's a keepsake given to him by his parents, Cyclops and Madeline Pryor, who's a Jean Grey lookalike. But just because they've been talking about how they had to oversimplify his backstory, it's just way too complicated to do it exactly like it is in the comics, then I think that in the name of simplicity, they're not going to do Hope, it'll just be Cable, and it's his teddy bear that was given to him as a child by the X-Men that we'll be seeing next year during Dark Phoenix. So it should go without saying that I don't think we're ever going to see those Dark Phoenix characters, which that movie's taking place in the 90s, I don't think we'll ever see them cross over with this version of Deadpool and Cable in this way. Like, they want you to see the teddy bear, and if you've read the comics, you sort of know the connection, and you're like, oh, that teddy bear's probably seen some shit. But the whole idea when you meet him for the first time is that he's just this hardcore character that you can't quite figure out, like, what's this teddy bear? Like, what has he been through? Why is he so crazy? What disaster is he trying to stop? And what is it that throws him into Deadpool's path? Like, that's all you're worried about. Then after that, like, they slowly start peeling back the layers and he starts telling stories about the stuff that's happened to him, maybe a few offhanded references about his parents, but I'm not expecting any direct shout-outs or any appearances from Cyclops or his parents or anything like that. The original dynamic is that Domino is sort of a mercenary for hire on her own, but she helps Cable out, so they're both kind of on the same team when Deadpool pops up for the first time trying to kill Cable, so I'm expecting a similar dynamic. But if you've read that original New Mutants story, it's a little more straight up, like I'm coming to kill you with a little bit of wisecracking. I think the way that Ryan Reynolds plays the character is a little bit more casual. Like, even when he's getting into it during the first Deadpool movie, the way he talks when he's fighting the villains is still relatively nonchalant. Like, this is no big deal. I'm just gonna mow through these guys on the way to saving my girlfriend.
When I'm finished, parts will have to grow back here.
Good one. Yep, that's a good one. Let's dance.
So if you've been seeing the pictures from behind the scenes, like him crashing a party in someone's backyard in what looks like the suburbs, him riding on a scooter through Midtown, then it just seems like it's going to be a lot of the same tone. Like, part of the comedy of Deadpool is the fact that there's all this crazy shit going on. In normal superheroes, even people on the Avengers would be freaking out. Like, you'd see Captain America getting all depressed about how crazy things have gotten. You'd see Spider-Man freaking out. But Deadpool just takes it all in like it's no big deal. Just another day at the races. Just going to work, gonna kill a whole lot of people like he's a blue-collar stiff just punching his time card. I know a lot of you are wondering what his powers are gonna look like on screen, because if this is the stripped-down version of Cable, does that mean they're also gonna strip down his comic book power levels? Because he's telekinetic, he has very fine control of objects, like he's actually really good with it. He's telepathic, but not quite as powerful as Professor X or Jean Grey, and he's very good at astral projection. So what I'm expecting is that we're not going to see any astral projection. We might see a limited form of telepathy and maybe a little bit of telekinesis, but I don't think it's going to be off the charts. Look at the power levels during X-Men Apocalypse, like everybody's off the charts, especially the Four Horsemen. It's not going to be anywhere like that. In fact, they're probably going to make fun of that. People just being super OP.
Unleash your power! Let go, Jean!
Deadpool is all about making fun of those kind of things, so either he has no powers or he just has very limited powers. But everybody, let me know what you think about Josh Brolin and Zazie Beetz so far. I think they look pretty solid. But in related news, there's a whole bunch of comic book stuff that's been happening this week. So like I said, Defenders is dropping next week. I'll be doing episode videos for that. There's a new Rick and Morty Marvel episode. They're genuinely doing a Marvel parody in next week's episode that'll air on Sunday. So I'll do a promo video for that. That'll post in a couple hours later tonight. If you don't know what Rick and Morty is, you should definitely start watching, or at least check the videos out that I do for it and then start watching it. But while you wait for everything, you can click here for next week's Game of Thrones footage, and you can click here for my Infinity War trailer video. Thank you so much.